Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests. And today, finally, we have Adrienne. Because I know we met each other in 2009 in Nepal at the Appreciative Inquiry Conference. Then we met again. I don't know when that was, at the Harvard Conference in Boston. I've been following you and I've been trying to get you on the podcast. Now is the time because there's something new that came up. Not really new, but that you're sharing now. Introduce yourself. Who is Adrienne and where are you today?
Thanks, Suzanne. This is such an honor to finally make it here on the podcast. As you said, we met, 2009. Actually, we met in Nepal at a conference in Nepal, which was a really cool adventure. I got to do some really cool hiking there and then attend this amazing World Congress for Appreciative Inquiry, which was just fabulous. We've stayed in touch ever since. So a little bit about me. I've spent a lot of my life. Well, I'm going to start with what I'm doing right now. I'm retired and newly retired, which is kind of exciting. This is the third time I'm retiring. I believe in a life well lived. I've done many retirements. In fact, when we met in Nepal, I had just retired from a high technology firm. When I turned 50, I decided it was time to take a break from work. And my gift to myself was to go to Nepal and do some hiking and do that conference. So here I am at 65 years old and I finally got the itch again to be open to what life is going to bring my way. And so I did recently retire. I spent most of my career focused on helping companies and individuals make positive change. That's a big theme when I try to bring together the different themes in my life: positive change, overcoming limits, and using strengths are all things that are important to me.
It seems to be that you're a very busy person. And when I tried to set up this podcast, you said you're retired. It seems like you're busy than ever before, but tell your story where it all began and what we can learn from you, especially because you're simply amazing. When I met you in Nepal, hiking and not asking for help, that's one of the big things when I think about you, not asking for help. Why?
Well, that's a really good question. I've spent a lot of my life feeling that I need to overcome limits or do things myself, partly the way I was raised and maybe partly some of my DNA. And actually part of my biggest growth in getting a little older is being so happy to ask for help. It makes life so much easier and it gives other people the gift of being of service. Mm-hmm. When I was 8, I was diagnosed with a very rare bone cancer and it resulted in me losing my right arm. And I like to think of myself as not a person of a disability, but as being differently abled. Because there's really nothing that I've set out to do in life that I can't find a way to do. I really don't believe in being limited by challenges, but more, let's challenge the limits and figure out how to get things done. So early on, a couple of hard things to overcome were probably harder than losing my arm was going from being right-handed to being left-handed. But your brain is wired in a certain way. Looking at that now as an older person, I really believe I got superpowers from that transition. My brain formed new connections in different ways, and it's given me the ability to be able to think very strategically and to maybe see pathways where others don't.
For the listeners, if you think, okay, so you right-handed, so if you now have to change to the left, how is that? And they say the neural pathways, it's important that we change things, just brushing your teeth with the other hand. But if you have to do it, you will learn, you will overcome. And you're certainly a person to show us. For the listeners, she's driving a car.
Well, I've been driving a car for 50 years almost. I raise my children. I change the diapers of the grandkids. Basically, there's a way to do everything. And that's why I love the term differently abled. And that's become kind of the way I live my life. I used to get really kind of angry, not angry, but yeah, maybe a little angry. Like when people like, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? I heard somebody share one time that it's all in the way you ask. I always like to share this. If somebody comes to me and they say, may I help you? My first answer is going to be yes. But if somebody comes to me and says, do you need help? My first answer is going to be no. I never need help. I don't need help, as you saw. But would I like help? And would I like you to help me? That's a different question.
I love that. It's all about asking the right question. May I help you? May I help you?
May I help you? Because then I'm giving somebody the gift of helping me. It's different. It's a slight nuance, but it's a little bit different. I just really have always lived my life as me from hiking. I got to hike the Inca Trail in Peru a couple of summers ago. That was really awesome, very hard, very awesome. One of the things that has come into my life, actually later on in life, is running. And I know we share that.
That's how we connected again a little bit. And thanks to social media, we also need to say that sometimes social media can have something good. So through the Facebook community, we found each other again. And then our passion for running was certainly something that running always bonds.
Yes. And I always thought, I've always dabbled in running and I was more into aerobics. I was more a Richard Simmons girl. I've dabbled in running, but I really had a belief that I couldn't run farther than a 5K. That was a limit. And so for a person that doesn't usually accept limits, it's kind of funny to me that I thought that, but for a long time I did. And I moved back to New England and I joined a running club here to make friends. And before I knew it, I was signing up to run the Boston Marathon. In fact, about 9 months after I started running in earnest, I had this gift of a bib to the Boston Marathon. That was my first marathon. And since then, there's been 12 more. It's changed my life, really. Distance running, the confidence, the discipline, the camaraderie, the gifts that come with doing hard things. Running's been a really amazing part that didn't come into my life till about 13 years ago. So maybe I'll have my knees for longer.
They will. And it's amazing what you mentioned. And this is very important, to make friends. So through the running, yes, you run together and everybody always tells me, but you run by yourself when you run the race. Yeah, but the training, you need your buddies to go with you. It's about the accountability. And you mentioned discipline, never giving up and achieving something together.
Yes, exactly. And it's not just like my own achievements, but it's really the joy of like running somebody in for the last 10 miles of their first marathon, helping somebody else learn how to be able to do this. That's more satisfying to me. And in fact, I like training more than I even like running the races, to be honest with you. The races are just an excuse to train.
Or to travel.
Or to travel. I did complete the World Marathon Majors last year in Tokyo.
Tell the listeners what that means, because this is amazing. I have not done that. I was thinking this morning, do I need a new medal? No. So tell us what that is.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting thing. I got to run 6 world major marathons: Boston, Chicago, New York City, Berlin, London, and then I finished in Tokyo. And I did 4 of those races with my really good running friends. We traveled together and it was just an exciting time. And obviously the accomplishment, it feels good. Going to Japan, spending 2 weeks in Japan with good friends, that was amazing. Getting our 6th star together. They call it that you get a star for each race. And when you get your 6th star, you've completed the world majors.
Wow. And congratulations. Yeah. Tokyo would be one of my dreams, but who knows? I don't have to run the marathon. I can just go to Japan.
I keep telling my friends, we really don't have to run a race. We could just go on vacation.
Yeah, why not? But now tell us a little bit what's happening in Boston, and you're setting course records. Simply amazing. Okay, don't put yourself down. We need to hear about that.
No, I'm a spiritual person and I do believe things come to me when they're supposed to. A couple of years ago, I was at the Boston Marathon Expo. I wasn't running the race, but I was at the expo because it's kind of an exciting thing to go. It's kind of fun. And I saw something called the Para Athletic Office. And I'm like, I wonder what that is. I don't really know anything about para athletics. So I went to the office and I met the director of the program, and she explained that the Boston Marathon they were the first, I believe, major marathon to offer wheelchairs, to bring wheelchairs into the race. And now they had added 6 other divisions into the para athletic division, which it's a competitive division of the race. There's 7 divisions. My division is upper limb impairment. You actually have to be classified by the World Paralympic organization in order to be able to run as a para athlete. So it was kind of a big deal. And she's telling me all this. And I said, but I'm not fast. I'm not a fast runner. And she said, oh, you don't need to be. You don't need to be fast. It would just be great to have you participate. I said, well, I'll think about it. And she said, oh, and there's one other thing. There's prize money.
Oh.
And I said, prize money?
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. I thought long and hard, and I did decide to go through and become a classified para athlete.
And what does that entail? Tell us. What do you have to do for that?
What I had to do for that, I had to complete an application, and then I had to go for an in-person interview with 2 members of the Paralympic Committee during the Boston Marathon Expo this year in April. Sorry. And so it was a little stressful. They did ask a lot of questions. And where do you compete? Have you run any international races? And tell us about a typical training week. I don't think I do that much, but boy, when I was sitting there listing off all the things I do in a week, I said, geez, I guess I'm an athlete.
You are, come on.
Yeah, so it was wonderful. And so I did get accepted. I did get classified, and I did get accepted to run the Boston Marathon. And then I was also invited to run the BAA 5K that happens that weekend. And in both races, I was able to win my division. And I did actually in the Boston Marathon get a laurel wreath. I was honored with a laurel wreath and a beautiful crystal vase. And if you were to go look on the Boston Marathon website or the 5K website, you'd see my name as being the record holder in that division for those races. Kind of old me probably would have said, first of all, I don't want to be singled out as being different. I'm too slow. I'm going to come up with a lot of reasons why not to do this. But sort of the new me said, wow, what an awesome opportunity this is to bring awareness to what's possible if you're differently abled. Encourage other people to come in and do this and come into para athletics because it's a really cool thing. It was an amazing experience being in the tent waiting to start the race with the other para athletes. I just don't really feel like I should even be there. I was like, oh no, I don't belong here. I'm looking at the kinds of challenges people were running this race with and meeting such wonderful people, amazing people. The gifts just keep on coming. I will be doing the Boston Half Marathon on November 10th as a para athlete. I'm pretty excited about that, and I'm training for that now. Yeah, so lots of kind of cool stuff happening for me.
Wow, I'm so happy that I did not give up haunting you to finally get you on that podcast because congratulations. Sometimes it takes us a little longer to realize that we have something to offer. And I remember that was also what I was interested in. You got a master's in positive psychology. And I was like, oh, so you mentioned the old me, the new me. I'm thinking that positive psychology has a good effect on you. And we need to celebrate what we can. And you have overcome so many obstacles, but you say, I don't need help. I can do anything by myself. And this is fine. But we're going to check on the Boston Marathon website and look for you with that beautiful picture. I saw it on Facebook.
And I just really, I want to say anybody can do this. Really, don't be limited. It's not something you can do day one. As you train a long time, you start very slowly and gradually build up and then you can do this. And I never thought, like I said, I never thought I could go further than a 5K. I just didn't think I could. And here you go. I say to people, don't be limited by your challenges. Challenge your limits because you can do it.
How many more wise words can we get from you? This is amazing. So thank you so much for giving us a glimpse. Anybody who's a runner has to listen to this episode and follow her on her Boston journey for the half marathon. And then in 2025, you will be running the big event as well?
I will be running the big event. And as well, I didn't mention this, but as well, I'll be raising funds for Boston Children's Hospital in the Miles for Miracles program, because I like to think of my marathoning now as purposeful marathoning. So inspiring others and raising funds for this worthy cause is what I'm doing. with my big marathons.
Yeah, wonderful. And we will add the link to the fundraiser to this episode so everybody can see it. But thank you so much and keep it up. Be nice to yourself. And since you started later in life, you can run till you're 100.
The knees are going to hold out.
So, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suzanne.
What a cool conversation. 2 runners talking, but she is holding the course record. How cool is that? Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday. Come and listen to the great people who have a great message, inspiring others. And Take It from the Ironwoman is also the book Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Download it or get it in your local bookstore. Support local bookstores. And also write a review, like us, wherever you're listening to your podcasts. Thank you and see you next time.